Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Kerri Hummingbird, who's here to share with us her new book, Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. So are you looking to create a new beginning? Well, then today's show is just for you. Kerri Hummingbird is a medicine woman, mother, and mentor. She's the founder of Inner Medicine Training, which is a mystery school that shares potent ancient traditions from the Andes and the Himalayas for owning your wisdom and living your purpose. As the host of the Soul Nectar Show, Kerri inspires people to lead their lives wide awake with passion, authenticity, and purpose that positively impacts others. As a healer and mentor, she catalyzes mind shifts that transform life challenges into gifts of wisdom. Please note, the views and opinions of our guests do not reflect those of the host, the show, or our station. So let's welcome to the show, Kerri Hummingbird.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Marianne.
What an honor it is to have you here and to talk about your book. What inspired you to write this book?
This book was in the making through a couple of other little projects that didn't pan out, but I realized were helping me to get centered enough to write this book. And in retrospect, I can see that this book is really going to be a big part of my life's work going forward. And it's really teaching about the medicine path, it's teaching about the medicine wheel and walking the beauty way and working with the great mystery. And this is what I've been studying and learning for the past 12 years. And now this is what I'm going to be sharing with other people for the next part of my life. So I finally realized, oh, this is a very important book. Okay.
Especially for right now, your subtitle is Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. And I think a lot of people can probably feel that right now.
Absolutely. We have been very disconnected, thinking of ourselves as separate and uh, not really realizing the impact that we have on the planet and on each other. And this book is teaching a medicine path for becoming more and more aware of yourself as a piece of the garden of earth. You know, each one of us in our bodies is a piece of that garden of earth. And the way we tend that garden makes a difference not only for ourselves, but for everyone that we're around and also for the planet. Because we are storytellers, we use the word to create reality. And so we need to learn how to create that reality from a sense of connectedness of all that is.
So when we talk about a new way of living, what does that look like? You're saying there's a sense of connectedness, but is there something that we can do to help move things forward?
Absolutely. And the main thing is to bring yourself into presence with yourself as, like I said, that piece of earth, and to be in connection with earth at a much deeper level than just simply going for a hike or looking outside your window, but to realize that earth is conscious and earth is connected to our bodies and our minds and our emotions. I mean, we are made of earth. And so therefore we are in this connection with her at a very deep level when we choose to become aware of it. So it's about cultivating awareness, and it's about cultivating connection and cultivating a sense of yourself in presence as more than just maybe your physical body. And, starting to take different actions from that bigger connection self rather than from the limited finite self that is in your mind.
So is that disconnect where we're probably getting some of, it seems like the population's really struggling right now with mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and so on. Is that because of the disconnect?
Absolutely, because of the disconnect. Um, Mostly it's because there is a collective process going on that could go a number of different ways. And the process involves species going extinct, for example. We can see evidence of many different species going extinct at this time on the planet. And so at a planetary level, there's a huge shift going on in consciousness of the planet and in conditions of the planet. And the thing is that Mother Earth is going to bring things back into balance, however she needs to bring things back into balance. So we saw an example of that a few years ago with the pandemic. Mother Earth, however people want to believe that all of that came into being, doesn't really matter. All of us are made of earth. So in one way, shape, or form, we're all part of the earth collective. And so Mother Earth will inspire people to say or do certain things. Mother Earth is really at the basis of a lot of the changes going on the planet. And so when we are out of balance, she's got to bring it back into balance. And we can really assist that process by becoming conscious. And becoming conscious means, and we need to get into our bodies all the way down to our toes, very deeply present with this earth human experience. And that means we're going to have to face things that we don't want to face. There's lots of stress and anxiety in the collective because of this overall extinction process that's going on. We all feel it and sense it at some level. It's very stressful. And so that causes some people to go into a panic, to go into fear response. To some people, it causes to go into distraction and avoidance. Other people, it causes to wake up and do something about it and get active, doing something about it. So we are all going to have a different response to this collective extinction process that we're in the process of right now. And we can still reverse things at any time. If enough of us become conscious, we can reverse things at any time with ingenious solutions. And that's really the part that I believe is the main impetus to me releasing this book at this time, is to invite people into a pathway. I'm sure there are other pathways, but to invite people into a pathway for becoming more present, more conscious, more connected with your body, more connected with the earth, so that you can start to receive the information that you particularly need to do your part. And part of that might just be, you need to wake up and deal with your emotions. You need to feel your feelings. It would behoove everyone around you if you started becoming aware of how you really feel about things and not stepping over that, but actually speaking what you need to speak and setting boundaries if you need to set them, and starting to tell different kinds of stories about your life and people in your life, changing the way that you talk about things, because the word creates reality. So if we all became just conscious of that piece right there, that would help free up a whole lot of energy that could then start to be used towards something else. Because just like stuck emotion can lead to disease in your own body, a lot of unprocessed, unhealed ancestral experience on the planet and personal experience, anger, rage, suppressed hatred, and all of these things, that also creates a burden on Mother Earth. And so we need to be consciously working our karma right now, really processing things, so that collectively we can clear up some of the congestion in the space. And then it will have more energy to turn our attention to pressing problems, such as all the plastic that's accumulating all over the planet. And we're still consuming at mass quantities plastic products that are packaged in plastic. That plastic doesn't have anywhere to go right now. It's not all being recycled. Everyone just wants to think it is because you put it in a recycle bin, but it's not. We actually need to change how we're doing things. But it's almost like we don't even have energy for that if we're not facing our feelings, if we're not dealing with the issues in our relationships, if we're not dealing with our feelings about our work and all of these areas that are personal. If that isn't getting addressed, then there's no energy freed up to start looking at some of these collective issues.
Oh, that's a big one for sure. And it's interesting how many people are just conditioned to doing things a certain way and thinking that the planet and just even our own stories will work themselves out, when we have to really be, at least from what I've learned from your book, we really have to be the catalyst for all that.
Yes, we are stepping out of the Piscean age. The Piscean age was where we had the victim, rescuer, perpetrator triangle. And so those of us who felt like victims to perpetrators or situations beyond our control, or maybe life is the perpetrator, we're all just waiting for a rescuer to come and save us. And, a lot of people have been hanging out thinking, well, Jesus is going to come and save us all from this, right? And I'm here to tell you, no, that's not going to happen, actually, because we're moving into a more mature soul curriculum. And the mature soul curriculum is all about personal responsibility, personal sovereignty, personal mastery, and stepping into taking responsibility for what's actually yours to heal and address, wrapping up old karma, healing your relationships, learning how to forgive, and not just stopping at, hey, forgiveness, you can forgive somebody and never, ever talk to that person again. No, that's not forgiveness. You're still thinking that person is evil and you're good and they're still in the matrix. So it's time for us to really step into this mature soul curriculum, every single one of us, and step into how we can be an agent of change, not only in ourselves, but in our family systems, in our communities, and then decisions that will impact the larger collective and the planet. That's really the invitation that's happening. And it's an initiation. It's a huge initiation. And when we have initiations in general, anytime you have an initiation in your life, first thing you might avoid that wake-up call. You might say, nope, I don't want to know anything about that. I want to go back in the matrix and eat my steak and drink my wine and feel happy, right? And some people are doing that right now. But really, this isn't avoidable, actually. This is where we're headed. And it's going to get more challenging if we don't address it.
In your book, you talk about entering a new reality through ritual. What do you mean by that?
So what we want to do is when we finally realize, wow, okay, this is my wake-up call. Crap, how am I going to, do my part? What am I meant to do? What happens is that our beta brain can get super activated and it's based in fear, and it can try to figure out things. And this isn't about figuring out things, because our personality doesn't really have what it takes to reverse the conditions that are happening on the earth. And actually, all of these conditions, and actually in your life too, whenever you have a lot of darkness happen and big drastic changes, those are all to put your ego out of ability to solve any of the problems by itself. Because the opening and the invitation is to welcome your soul to step in and have some of those answers with you and for you. And that is this process that we're collectively in right now. And in order to get us into the perspective of the soul, the vision of the soul, the eyes of the soul, it's helpful to do ritual, because ritual helps our fight or flight system to relax out of beta mind and into alpha or theta mind, which are brain states that help you see below the choppy surface of life into the more deeper aspects of life that are here to guide us, to give us inspiration, to give us ideas beyond our limited self, our limited finite human self. Way down deep in the ocean of that subconscious are some beautiful ideas that we can tap into if we relax the choppy beta mind. And so the ritual helps us relax that mind and get ourselves out of the sharp, razor, hard focused, logical mind into the soft focus, listening, intuitive centers that are going to be able to tap into something greater in order to bring brilliant solutions to the planet at this time.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Kerri Hummingbird in regards to her new book, Inner Medicine. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Every day, pets are surrendered and abandoned. For these helpless and hurting animals, Paws Humane Society acts as a voice for the voiceless, providing hope for a brighter future. You can make a difference in the life of a shelter pet. Become a humane hero today. Just $10 a month will provide much-needed food, shelter, medical care, and love. It takes a community. It takes heroes like you. Together we can. Together we will. Together we are Paws Humane. Visit pawshumane.org to be a hero in every animal story.
Are you an actor, public speaker, or an executive telling your story over Zoom? Jean-Louis Rodrigue and Scott Weintraub's new book, Back to the Body, takes the process they use to coach top Hollywood talent like Margot Robbie, Jack Black, and Ke Huy Quan and makes it available to everyone. Using your body and its energy as a point of departure, your work will gain an enhanced level of performance and depth. Back to the Body, available on Amazon and wherever books are sold.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest, Kerri Hummingbird, who's sharing with us her new book, Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. Are there attachments that keep people stuck?
Absolutely. Tons of attachments. Attachments to comfort, attachments to people behaving a certain way. I hear a lot of people right now talking about their triggers and how they don't want to be triggered and don't do this because it triggers me. And I can't have that relationship because it's toxic. It triggers me. And conversely, we have relationships that we don't want to lose because those relationships have a sense of safety about them. Like if I don't have that relationship with my family, if I don't have that support, then I won't be able to live. Or if I don't have this relationship with this person I love, I won't be able to live. And then your soul comes along and asks you to go against all that and asks you, like Robert Frost talked about also many years ago, to take the road less traveled. And that made all the difference. So sometimes we're called to be triggered. We're called to lean into toxic situations to learn from them. Sometimes we're called to leave a relationship that's very comfortable and secure because we need to move into our next stage of development, or there's a new initiation coming, or the relationship is out of alignment with where we need to go in our lives at a soul level. So we have a lot of attachments to keeping things the way that we prefer them. And right now, with this initiation, we're really being invited to lean into the discomfort of whatever's wake-up call you're getting from your soul inside.
Oh, that's such a powerful way of thinking of things. And it's so easy, I think, for people to get kind of lost in just not even themselves, but in these relationships, as opposed to looking at them, like this is good, this is bad. Instead of looking at them going, okay, I have lessons to learn here. Where can I grow and expand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that part of victim consciousness is thinking that something's bad and something's good. And if someone does something you don't like, then they're a perpetrator. And if they do something you do like, then they're a rescuer. And so, that's the old model. So what we want to do in the new mature soul curriculum that's opening up for us is that we get to admit to ourselves, accept, embrace that we chose this life incarnation and we chose these relationships and we chose these experiences to have an experience within ourselves that would catalyze and alchemize us through the friction caused by that relationship or that experience. And that there's something really beautiful inside the alchemy of that pain to pleasure that we needed in this lifetime in order to understand something more deeply about ourselves, in order to access a frequency deep inside that would bring us to some great depth. So a lot of times people argue with this and they say, why would I ever ask for myself to be homeless? And so let's take the homeless example. If you actually lived and were brought to such a place that you had no more belongings and you were homeless and you were at the stop sign begging for money, for food and water, that experience would place you in such a spot of tremendous understanding of what so many thousands of people just in the US are going through when they have no money, no food, and no one seems to care. Place you in such a deep empathy of that experience. It would open your heart in compassion from then forward to anybody else who would ever experience that. But the only way that you would ever be able to have that kind of compassion is if you had gone through that experience yourself. Because you might think, oh, well, I feel bad for those people, and so I'm going to give them some money. That's self-pity. That's like pity. You're pitying them. But if you had actually been through the experience yourself, you would have compassion and respect for the people going through it now in a very different way than if you'd never gone through the experience. So we need to start looking at all of our life's experiences as very different. For example, even now, like all of the animals that are being going extinct, this gives us an opportunity, instead of ignoring all these animals that have been on the planet with us, of actually deeply caring that an entire species is going extinct. Like the bees, we can actually have gratitude that bees pollinate flowers and make honey, and that we have honey on our toast and we love the way the honey tastes. And that honey comes from these bees, and these bees deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. We can only really appreciate that with the idea that it might be gone and it might never come back. And let's hope in that moment of that realization that we all decide to change our ways to make this planet more hospitable for bees so that they can resurge their populations. This is really the invitation we have right now.
Your book follows the medicine wheel. So we look at the direction of the West. What is that teaching us?
The West is really encouraging us to be aware. First of all, to be aware. The animal archetype of the West is the jaguar. The jaguar hunts at night. The jaguar sees in the dark. The jaguar knows intrinsically inside its body, without even necessarily using its eyesight. It can feel the whole terrain. It can feel everything. And it's honest with itself about what it perceives. And so we're moving into transparency with this jaguar energy, no longer in deception. The jaguar is helping us remove all deception, self-deception, deception with others, to have total transparency. And the jaguar also helps us to stand in our truth, to be truthful to ourselves about what we actually desire and where our life is out of right relationship, out of balance. And then to make the actions to bring it into balance, which usually is letting go of some stuff. We might need to let go of a past life. We might need to let go of a grudge. We might need to let go of hatred or anger or resentment. We might need to let go of someone that we loved and lost. So it's a lot of letting go of phases of our lives, letting go of how I used to look in my body when I was 20 versus now in menopause at 53, is letting go of so much of the past so that we can embrace the present. And this is what Jaguar helps us to do.
We're not going to go through all of the directions of the medicine wheel, but I would love for you to share the direction of the East with us.
The East is really about the new dawn, the new day, the new potential that's facing us all right now. And we all have this invitation to ascend our consciousness into Homo Luminous at this time on the planet for the Great Awakening. We are all able to do this. And is our willingness and our desire. And so the East is here to help us to lift our consciousness beyond what we think we know into new areas, new potentials. And it does this with the archetypal energy of the eagle. The eagle flies high in the sky. The eagle can lift us above our current shadowy consciousness, above the clouds, to see that there is a sun shining, and then to peer down through those clouds, through that distortion, that confusion, that doubt, to pierce through it down into the current moment, to see the landscape, to see what's actually going on from a higher perspective. So eagle can help us become omniscient, to see things from multiple different perspectives, to lose attachment to one perspective, to see a totality, and then even to see into the future, into possible destinies, which is dreaming the future today. This is also what the sacred dreamers are being invited to do at this time, is to, from a very conscious place, dream the future, our future descendants into being right here, right now, plant the seed of that, so that that storyline can grow and flourish for the benefit of all beings of life on this earth.
In your book, you talk about us being in right relationship. What does that mean, and what does that look like?
A lot of times we don't know what right relationship is, simply because of that fog of confusion I just mentioned. And so one of the practices that the Q'ero have, Qero, these are indigenous people that live in the Andes. And by the way, the Andes is now the new spiritual alignment for the earth. It's moved from the Himalayas as of 2012 over to the Andes. And so the Q'ero, what they do is they use the fire. The fire has the building blocks of creation. It has the blue flame of truth. It has the rose flame of compassion and love. And it has the golden flame of Inti, which is the sun, the light. It has all those. So they turn to the fire. They say, I must not know the truth right now, because I'm living in some human deception and chaos. I'm living in the Maya. I'm living in the delusion. So I'm going to blow into this little stick everything I think is true right now, and put it all into that stick, and then place it in the fire. And then I'm going to pull that flame, that blueprint, back into my mind for right thinking, into my heart for right love, and into my will for right action. And they'll even do this with a despacho or a sacred offering. And they put everything in there that they think is true, and they put all their blessings and all their prayers and everything they desire, all the visions, everything, and they place it in the fire and they let it go. And then they wait and see what happens. And this is the recognition that the universe has got the big picture. And in our little vessel, we have a tiny little glimpse. We don't know all the things. So it's up to us to dream. It's up to us to acknowledge, but also to follow. And this is really how we get back into right relationship.
In your book, you talk about how we can tune into Mother Earth. And for people who maybe have never done that or are not familiar with the term, how would they start?
I like to start by opening sacred space. And the reason why this is so powerful for Western people is that most Western people might have been a little damaged by religious dogma and not really willing to practice things that way. This is brand new. So it's another pathway you can try out in order to access something greater than yourself. And in the book is an invocation for opening sacred space, which really simply involves calling on all the four directions: Mother Earth, Father Sky, all of our allies, the mountains, the plants, the animals, the birds, all of life. And then you start your day that way. And when you start your day that way, you start your day in conversation with what I call the mystery, which is as divine mother energy that is everywhere, guiding our lives. You open your doorway to the mystery and maybe even sit in contemplation in nature for a little while, listening for your message. So it's your ritual and your dedication to your ritual, to opening that space, welcoming insights, welcoming connection, and then listening.
Is there great benefit to completing the circle around the medicine wheel?
I believe so, because every single direction holds new information. So when we go on the great spiral, what happens is we go around the medicine wheel. I start in the south, We go around the medicine wheel. We start in the south. We are dealing with one level of our consciousness. We go into the west. We're dealing with another aspect of our consciousness. We go into the north, another aspect. Into the east, another aspect. And then the spiral takes us back through the south, but at a higher level, a greater level of understanding. And so when we go back through, we can go even deeper within ourselves, and we can expand even higher in terms of our frequency. So with every pass around the wheel, we're gaining that depth and that expansion at the same time. So it's a very powerful tool for ongoing exploration.
Kerri, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your book and your show and also all the great work you do?
Absolutely. People can find out about my classes and inner medicine training and healings, and they want to get a shamanic healing, all of that stuff, my books at kerrihummingbird.com, KERRI hummingbird.com. And you can actually get a free chapter of inner medicine and a grounding meditation if you sign up at kerrihummingbird.com/inner medicine.
Well, Kerri, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne.
Well, thank you, Kerri. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Inner Medicine. Inner Medicine's available to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere books are sold. And remember, support our indie bookstores. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.